Hi everyone! In this video you're going to learn how to make salt dough and 3 different activities you can do with it, all to do with nature. So last week my daughter and I made salt dough and we thought it would be really good to share with you how to make salt dough and all the different things you can do with it. So do you want to show what you made last week? So you decided you wanted to make a ballerina, didn't you? This was the finished product with a bit of help from Mummy. So we're going to go through how to make salt dough, and we made a little bear as well. We're going to go through how to make salt dough and then you can have a go at home. This is the equipment that you'll need to make the salt dough. Salt dough recipe is 300 grams of plain flour, 300 grams of salt, 200 millilitres of warm water and 2 teaspoons of oil. But as you can see, this recipe has a ratio of 1 to 1, which means 1 part flour to 1 part salt. So it has equal amounts. And this recipe actually has a lot of flour, and our supermarkets seem to be quite short of flour at the moment. You can adjust and reduce the recipe down as long as you still use the same amount of salt and flour, but you must also obviously reduce down the water and the oil too. In this video you'll see that we've used a small cup, so to make it easier for my preschool daughter, but you could practice your measuring skills and use scales instead of a cup. Put your measured salt into the measured flour into the bowl, and then add a very small amount of warm water, adding it slowly so that you can mix your dough and not make it too
When you can see that the mixture is starting to get a little bit lumpy, then it's best to get your hands in and have a good feel of it and see if you can make it into a dough, or if it needs a little bit more water. It should start to stick together. So we've now got a bit of a dough going on. You can see it's getting a little bit sticky, but we're going to put a little drizzle of oil in just to kind of help stick it and bind it all together. I don't think I want any more water in there because we don't want it to be too sloppy. It needs to be quite dry. Okay, so I'm going to put a drop of oil in and just a little tiny glug of oil. That's enough. And then mixy up. When it's looking a bit more like a dough, it's good to turn it onto a floured surface, lightly floured surface, and then give it a good knead so that it's nice and dough-like, and it's going to work well as our salt dough. And it should look like this. We've just come out for our daily walk into the countryside, and we've been collecting lots of leaves and twigs and wildflowers and stashed them all in our backpacks, ready to do some nature art with our salt dough. Found ourselves a nice tree here, and we've stuck our salt dough to the tree to make our base, and now we're going to have a go at making some of our salt dough nature art. So we just finished making our nature pictures, our nature portraits. We've got a bunny rabbit with the big floppy ears, I'm not sure what that one is, and we've got
another
bunny. So it's still obviously important that you don't leave the salt dough on the tree. So once you've made your creations and taken a picture, you need to take the salt dough off the tree and take it back home with you. From your walk, one of the things you can do with the bits that you've collected is make prints. So if you roll out a piece of the salt dough cut it into a nice circle, I just use the base of the cup, and then choose one of the leaves or something that you've brought back that's got nice texture to it, press it into the salt dough, and then when you take it out carefully, you put your prints of your leaves or your nature materials onto a baking tray. If you want to hang them up after they've cooked, then you can put a hole through the top of one with a pencil or the end of a spoon. Any leftover salt dough, you could try making some animals with it. So you could make some endangered animals. I know some of you have done some research on, or some British animals. Anything you like, really. So we've had a go at making a hedgehog using a fork to make the spikes, and just something sharp to make the
holes for the eyes. For our last salt dough creation, we've made an endangered animal, sea turtle. And for this one, if I want to have a go at hanging it on the wall, you need to basically find a metal paper clip, or we didn't have any metal paper clips, so we found a metal bulldog clip, and you need to put that on the back of your salt dough before you put it in the oven, and then when you bake it, it will be able to be used as a hook. If you look at the ones we made earlier, we've got the hook on the back and the hook on the back of that one. Okay, so bulldog clip, it's made of metal, this isn't plastic, but we're going to take this black bit off anyway to use the hook part. And we're going to put it on the baking tray and then pop it into the oven. Put your salt dough creations into the oven on 180 degrees for 20 minutes. Now the salt dough is cooled, it's time to paint, and the best paint to use is either acrylic paint or poster paint, but I'm sure any paint would be absolutely fine. And then if you mix the paint with a little bit of PVA glue, so 1 part PVA to 2 parts paint, it will make the paint stick better to the salt dough, and it will allow it to have a little bit of a shine to it as well. So we've got our hedgehog here and our little prints of the leaves that we can paint up nicely. And this one here that we put a little hole in the top, we can put some ribbon or string through to hang it up. So I'm going to start painting and I'll show you the finished results. Ta-da! And here are the finished salt dough nature creations. I hope you enjoy making them. Obviously, this is aimed at year 4 because our topic is Nature's Nurturers this term. But if you're in another year group, you could make something to do with your topic, or you could do anything really. Perhaps make an NHS disc you can hang in your window, or a rainbow. Just enjoy playing with the salt dough and being creative.